Just saw that my microphone was disconnected, and so I've been over here talking to y'all, and ain't nobody responded to me because, well, you can't hear me. So how about now? As the famous commercial goes, can you hear me now? Give me a wire yes in the chat box if you guys can hear me now. Thank you, Todd, Felix, Deborah, Vinny, Priyanka. Good, 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 good. All right, thank you. Larry, good to see you, brother. I hope you're doing well, my friend. Tim, you as well. Stu, I hope you are doing well as well. It is Sunday, and this is our Sunday sessions. For those of you guys that don't know, I host this session every single Sunday night, 7 p.m. without fail. Probably the only times I won't host it is birthdays, anniversaries, if I got to go out of town for certain things. Those are the only kind of times that I won't host it. But I will let you know probably 2, 3 weeks in advance before we have to, like, quote unquote cancel one of them. All right. Um, so we will be there's a lot that we're going to discuss here tonight. There's some things that um there's a couple things that are pretty shocking that I'm going to be sharing with you guys. How do I say this? Like, um, an opportunity to help somebody is going to be given to you guys tonight, and I'm going to share a little bit about that and what's going on there. Um, and we'll also look at some trading opportunities and some various other things as well. So, before I begin, a couple of quick little housekeeping items. I got to let you know we're gonna do this. Let's see. Let's see. Weakness that is presently making money. Jerry, honestly, maybe, maybe not. I'll if I see it, I'll talk about it. But really quickly, I'm gonna do this like they do in the pharmaceutical company, pharmaceutical commercials. I am not acting in my capacity as a commodity trading advisor. I'm simply here to show you opportunity. What you do with that opportunity is all up to you, as well as you got to be aware of any and all risk, understand that risk, and be willing to accept that risk. Lastly, if you take any of the trades that I share here tonight and you decide to take those share trades, just know you're doing so of and on your own volition, my friends. Um. Really quickly, for those of you guys that haven't been in a session with me, maybe you've kind of heard my voice recently over several different Dan said I was in pharma for 12 years. We can't die from watching this. Cammy, no, Dan, I promise you. No, well, I can't promise, but maybe, hopefully not. All right. um yeah, but really quickly, for those of you guys that you haven't been in a session with me or you don't know me, from the grocery store, my name is James Bishop. I've been in trading and trading education for 15, 16 years. Been in the financial investment world for about 20 now, which is crazy that I've been 20 plus years out of college. Originally, my entire life plan was to be in the military, and wanted to be a pilot in the military. Even stopped growing past 5'9" because you couldn't be 6 foot tall and fly an F-22 Raptor. And that was my entire life goal. But as God saw fit, he had different plans for me, and I was born with a hole in my heart that medically disqualified me from being in the military at all. So, with nothing else to do, I was kind of just floated around, found it, got involved in private equity and in property management, and then got into trading, like I said, about 16 plus years ago in trading education. Worked with thousands of individuals around the world, with their trading education. Was studied under the tutelage of some of the best traders that you could ever meet. Then I started creating my own courses and helping create courses. Then I decided to leave that and go pursue a different opportunity in, originally it was going to be with a financial advisement firm. And if I said the name, everybody would know it, and I'm not going to do that. Decided to go a different way because I realized two things. One, the people in the office didn't know as much as as one would assume that people knew. Two, their goal wasn't to help people make money. It wasn't to help protect people's money. Their goal was simply to, how do I put this, to not lose that money, so that way when you go to retire you have a bunch of money, and for a mere cost of a third of any wealth you generate, you could be a client of theirs. And that's at 2% of assets under management, which doesn't seem large, but over 20 30 years, it's about a third of all of your returns get paid to somebody else. Now, then I decided to go, when that didn't pan out, I kind of reassessed, and I became the vice president of capital markets for a hedge fund. And myself and my co-founder of the fund, we decided, well, of myself and another, the chief investment officer for the fund, decided to break away and do our own thing. And that has been just an absolute tremendous success. We have hit all-time highs again this year for our client accounts after fees, and we have returned over 101% to our clients in the last 3 years. Um, I also, because I wanted to help into the everyday individual, and we'll talk a little bit more about this here today, I started a retirement and estate planning company to allow people to, one, be able to retire without losing money, two, be able to protect their retirement, and three, be able to um, retire tax free. That's some of the things that I've been able to help people. So let's see. Um, and so I'm also working on my doctorate in finance and economics because I do believe in education. So, with that said, that's a little bit about me for those of you guys that haven't met me or haven't been around me or anything like that. I just wanted to share that with you. A lot of times people they just assume that, oh, they know everything about me, but you know, um, I have a varied background. I did not grow up with a silver spoon in my mouth, a gold spoon. I got the wooden spoon, which is called a kutala for any of my anybody from the Caribbean or Indian in here that may know what that is. That's the wooden spoon that you got beat with if you were in trouble. Okay. I was a single parent for the majority of my life, and you know mom made 20 something thousand dollars a year, and that was it. So wasn't raised in laps of luxury. And because of that, I have a work ethic and a grit that I think are different than some of my peers in this industry that are just out to make a buck, to say the least. And I understand how hard it is that you all have worked to make the amount of money that you have. And I will tell you all, great job for what you've done thus far. And I know you're working this hard to get trading successful to take it even further, right? So, a couple of quick housekeeping items. First is the Discord, right? For those of you that are new to this, I have a Discord channel. We have about 300 plus people in Discord. I share these links. I share trade setups. I share news. We have Stu, my man Stu. I'm missing your trades, buddy. I'm missing your trades, so I better see some this week, Stu. Um, but we have Stu that shares trades and how he trades and things like that. And I want everybody to start participating in doing that, right? Let's make this a great community to be a part of. This is absolutely free. I'm never going to charge to be a part of Discord. You're never going to get kicked out of Discord. The only thing that it may do, I want you guys to participate, participate, participate. All right. That's what I want everybody to do as they can. All right. Is participate here. Um, and then the next we're gonna have some special sessions coming up. I'm gonna be announcing those in the Discord channel and in the coming weeks. Also, I'm working on a newsletter as well as a little bit of an educational program in a trading room that I'll be announcing to everybody as well. Um, let's see. And let's go into now some of this week's announcements. Well, on the fundamental news side, we only got one. Government shutdown. Okay. Let's see. Paul, that's fine. Paul, you stay here. This set, you don't have to be in the Discord, Paul. You don't have to be in the Discord if you don't want to be in the Discord, but that's just there for people that want to be there, right? It's totally fine. It's a free thing. So, um let's see. Yeah, Jerry, that's fine. And even if you want to invite other people from those sessions in there, that's fine too. So, nobody has to be part of a Discord here, right? I'm not gonna hold your feet to the fire to do so. I just give it an opportunity to get more instant feedback from me. That's it. So, government shutdown, we've had this now for ongoing. The last time we had a government shutdown, um, was in December of 2018 and 2019. It was actually the longest shutdown that we've had in US history, and that lasted for 35 days. To talk a little bit about that, let me see here. I built something. Hold on a second. I'm actually just give me one second here. I built something that I want to share with you all, and where did I build it at? Let me go here and see if it's in my other Gmail. This is the problem. I got so many emails and so many Gmails and so many this mails that can't keep them. Ah, here we go. So I don't know if this was sent out to you or not, but this is what I did, right, is called a it's basically a simple case study. All right. I'm just going to simplify it. There's a fancy name to it, but that would just be flexing an ego. And I don't need to do that. Okay. What this is looking at the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, the Dow Jones Industrial Index, and gold at what happened over that time in the recession, right? So, or recession, when the government was shut down, right? So leading into the government shutdown, because it shut down on the 22nd. So leading into it, we saw very little change. Then in the first couple of days out of the after the shutdown, we actually saw a little bit of a spike up in returns on those days. Right? You see that, right? We had a 4.96% day and 0.87% day, a loss of 0.1%, a 0.86% win, a 0.13%. And then we started to see a little bit of negativity come in there. But overall, during the government shutdown, it didn't really phase the market much. The S&P went from 2,400 or so all the way up to it reopened on the 19th, so all the way up to um 8.39% is what we rallied up to. We did have a little bit of drop after the shutdown was over. And we're seeing the same kind of situation happen across the board. So while I wouldn't say like, oh, you got to be aware and be so fearful around the shutdown, what makes trading around the shutdown so difficult is these ups and downs, up and downs, up and downs. Okay. Can everybody see these charts? Yes or no? Can you guys see the charts here? Yes or no? Just want to make sure. Okay. Sometimes I'm looking at them, they look huge to me because I'm right here, but I don't know what it looks like to you guys. Okay, perfect. So just be aware that the percentage change can be very difficult during that time. But you want to I just wanted to share that with you. And we'll talk a little bit of the latest as well that's going on with the shutdown. So we're still on, it's still there, they're still arguing. Now, a couple of interesting things that have happened around the shutdown, right? And this is where I really just this is where you get to see how things get divided amongst people is that you got one side saying, oh, the left, they only want they want to extend coverage for illegal immigrants, and the right say we don't want to do that, we want more money to stay with American people, and we want to cut things and this, that, and the third. Well, both sides are telling half truths. Okay. I'll be honest with you. Both sides are telling half truths because it is constitutionally illegal and it is against the mandate of Medicare and Medicaid to pay out on claims of illegal immigrants. It's an amendment in the Constitution. So that's always been there that you can't fund that. And then on the other side, there are some cuts that do need to be made. Right? It just is what it is. So just understand and don't get caught up in the left or the right. I'm going to give you guys my age old adage of politics in life. I treat politics a lot like golf. If you hit it too far left, you're in the crap. And if you hit it too far right, you're in the crap. You want to be, slightly down the middle. Does that make sense? Everybody give me a yes if you can agree with that one. Maybe one of these days I'll run on a common sense party platform. Let's see. Rob, absolutely. You can't pay Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid with a TIN. You just can't. It won't work. My wife works in a NICU where people that are even visiting the United States that go into emergency, like I'll give you a kind of a aside here. And don't worry, guys, if we go long today, I'm okay with that. But there was a family that, the mom was, I don't know, 16 or 17 weeks pregnant, and her older son's birthday, and the dad was like a neurologist. They all flew from Brazil to the US to take their older son to Disney before the new baby came. She went into labor at like 17 or 18 weeks. And unfortunately, the baby didn't make it because it was so preemie. But that's the type of people that, get that you see with that don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid. They just don't. I understand how it works because I hear about it every single day, and I mean 7 days a week, okay? Is what I hear it about. So that's it on the government shutdown. We're going to dive in too much to that. Just know that a lot of our announcements last week didn't happen, right? Non-farm payroll didn't happen. We got PMI numbers because the government wasn't shut down that day, but other than that, we didn't have anything. We have consumer confidence go way down. We also had job openings go, where it was came in kind of a little bit better than expected, but not much better than expected. And we're seeing some crazy effects right now. Earnings this week, on October the 6th, which is Monday. We have Constellation that is going to be that they'll be releasing earnings on the 7th. We have McCormick, Peng, and then on the 9th, we have Delta, Pepsi, Apogee, Levi's as well. That's who we have, and Applied Digital as well. These are the ones that are reporting earnings this week. And so if you want to screenshot this, go ahead, type in done when you have it screenshotted, just so I know. Deborah, thank you. And if you're not going to screenshot it, just type in done as well, just so I know we can move on. Obviously, I don't have a webcam in your house. Perfect. Beautiful. Thank you. Paul and Kyla, Jerry, Tim, Deborah, Rob. Thank you guys so much. Vinny, thank you as well. Felix, fantastic. All right, good. So now let's take a look at some of the other headlines that have gone on today. This is FactSet. This is one of the systems that I have access to. Um, Really, a couple of big interesting things. You have, more oil found in South America within Guyana, more gold found in Africa, more gold found in South America as well, which is interesting to say the least. I don't know what that, long term means, but, we're seeing that happen. Friday, US equities were mixed. Last week, equities were kind of slightly up, slightly down, slightly up. It was just kind of flat for the week. Bitcoin did finish 1.4% higher. Dollar index fell. Gold finished up, right? Why did gold finish up? Why did the stock market stay kind of flat? Why did Bitcoin go up? What is up with that? Well, think about this. Money likes safety. Does anybody in here like to lose money? Yes or no? Anybody like to lose money? right? I know it's probably the dumbest question of the night, and feel free to put a duh in there, right? No, but I'm good at it. Well, we're probably going to fix that. I promise you. Right? No one likes to lose money, right? It's absolutely no one wants to. So what typically happens at the higher end asset management level? We're talking, the Goldman Sachs, the BlackRocks, the Blackstones. We're talking, the big major investment banks in this world. What they look at is like a risk on, risk off scenario. And they really look for and kind of look to, hey, how can we get the best return when there's uncertainty? Well, that's not staying invested in the market. They will literally get out of positions and go into gold and go into assets that are what are considered more stable assets for a little bit, right? We've seen rotation seems to be the big story with, select Mag 7 growth momentum and underperformance. But AI still seems to be the big play. Eventually, though, I get the pledges to AI and I get the pledges to investment, but eventually, the rubber has to meet the road. Like we got to see results. You know what I mean? Now, do I think that AI is still advancing at a far greater pace than we actually believe? Do I think that there's concern for things? Yes, absolutely. But I also know that overall, right, it could be a great thing for the economy. So, love it, Jerry. Love it. So, let's see. Um, Now let's get into. See, China pitched $1 trillion in U.S. investments in exchange for key changes in policy, right? They want U.S. trade and security policy in exchange for $1 trillion investment plea. Basically, they're looking for national security restrictions on Chinese deals in the U.S., lowering the tariffs inputs, imported by Chinese factories, built in the United States, um, which is interesting, right? Which this is going to be something that is going to be controversial, but I've told people this for a number of years because it's been true and it's still true today. The largest manufacturer in the United States is China. Now that your brain resembles a pretzel, I'll repeat it. The largest manufacturer in the United States is China. You see, China under the first Trump administration and into the Biden administration, the trade deal that was signed back then allowed China to build manufacturing plants in the United States and bring in Chinese workers to work in the United States. And good, bad, and different. I don't know, right? So Foxconn became one of the largest U.S. auto manufacturers. It allowed Apple to bring manufacturing here, but also bring the labor force that was qualified to run the machinery to here. It brought Taiwan Semiconductor here, as well as the labor force that are able to run those things because those are highly technical manufacturing jobs, right? That was just we don't have the training for yet in the United States, right? So that is one of the things is that they brought their individuals over to work in these factories, as well as hiring from the outside and doing training and bringing U.S. people into that industry as well. It's not all a bad thing here, but what the United States and what's recognized around the world that the United States is good at in manufacturing is what's called high level manufacturing. What is high level manufacturing, James? I'm glad you just asked me that question. So, high level manufacturing is a term where we're able to design amazing and unique products that work tremendously well. We're able to design complex things that are extreme work really, 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 really well and solve big problems. And then what we end up doing is we take whatever we built and then we say go to China and we say, hey, how can we work together to streamline this process, increase production, lower cost to the consumer, and bring and make this better? Well, that's what China does best, right? And that's why we have the ability to kind of work with each other, right? You get some stuff built here in the United States for a while, and then they take it to China, and then and then they bring it back to the US as well. So that's where kind of the manufacturing like concern is, or what may be, right? Um, Now getting into some of the stocks that we've been looking at, give me a second here. I know I have a list of stocks that we have that I keep track of, and I forgot to open it. So, all right. So here are a list of some of the stocks that we've looked at thus far, right? A lot of these were no buys and things like that. They were waits from last week, is what we kind of discussed on a lot of these. These were positions that we were already had said that, hey, these were great opportunities at the time. We'll do a check in on some of those and a check in on a few of these. Are there, and I'm going to go ahead and take these out, right? So we can add some new ones if we want to. We have OKLO, SMR, Amazon, Nvidia, Coinbase, Appfolio, um, let's see, Fastenal, Etsy, eBay, SoFi, CoreWeave, PPTA, Rigetti, Ionic, Alibaba, Fannie Mae, Lululemon, UNH, and Zoom as well. Are there any others that you guys would like to look at here today? Go ahead and you can type in whatever ticker symbol you guys want to look at, and we'll work through some of these new ones as well. QBTS, RX, APLD. I want to look at MKC, or is it MCK? I mean, sorry, yep, MCK. KMX, BM and R, ELV. Any others? We can look at any markets too, Forex, cryptos, anything that you guys want to look at. MP. Surely, somewhat. Yep, somewhat. CAD yen for somebody out there. I'm gonna actually put that over here, just so because it would mess up, you know, the other stuff. JPY and CAD Swiss. Absolutely reevaluate futures, Ralph. 100%. Absolutely, my friend. So and then we'll look at the NQ as well. And I see LAC and TTTD. TTD, LAC, and SPY and QQQ. All right, perfect. That should be plenty here. Now, we're going to jump into these here. I'm going to be using a mix of various different systems. Some of what Tyson Clayton uses in his FIS Mastery, some of the hedge fund trender, Market Energy, some Ichimoku stuff from Hubert as well. And speaking of, I wanted to before we jump into this, and we may run a little bit longer here today. I want to share something that is personally affected me, and personally affected Woodford as a whole, and all of the brands that Mark Hellwig and Top Trade Tools, and Tyson Clayton and InvestForward, and HubertCenters.com, and as well as Wealth Mentor and various other companies that you have seen and heard from, as we are all one big family here. Really quickly, I want to introduce this person here. This is Hubert Center's daughter, and that is his very young grandson. And oh man, his grandson is was recently diagnosed with a kidney cancer, and it's affecting both kidneys. And this is what his reality is right now. He has a port in his arm and is currently, I will say this, and I don't mind it if I get cussed and people get mad at me. Oh well, he's kicking cancer's ass. And he's 6 or 8 months old right now. His name's Ollie. And you know what Hubert Center's daughter was a photographer that had to put her career on hold because she needs to be there for her son while he's going through this very difficult time and what has to be a very difficult time for the entire family. And Hubert is an amazing person that helped bring me into this great organization and in front of you guys and allowed me to continue sharing my passion and message for trading and investing and has helped tens of thousands, if not millions of people around the world right now. And, I believe that people always will help people. And so right now, I've always said that I don't want to pitch anything, but this is not pitching. This is asking for help. And with asking for help, I promise that we're going to help you as well. So, what we did internally is that any donation, I don't care what it is, any donation of any size, right? $1, $5. If you bought a Starbucks, just match a Starbucks, right? If you bought McDonald's, match it. If you went to the movies or went out to eat, just match one of those, right? And any donation of any size, we're gonna unlock four different entry level programs and courses for you. Options Outliers, Trend Navigator, Cycles Decoded, and the Index Club. And that's any donation, any size. I don't care what that is. And all you need to do is you will just take a screenshot of your donation and you will send it to this email, support@woodfordwealth.com. All right. Support@woodfordwealth.com. Now, if you do a $500 donation, we're going to give you a year of his Inner Circle trading program. This is absolutely free. All donations, I'm going to send you the website here in a second. We're going to give you a year of his Inner Circle program that gets you access to his trades, his alerts, his news, his information. And then over the next few weeks, the largest single donation, we're going to do something that's absolutely unforgettable for you guys. We're going to be having an event. Hint, hint, you're going to hear about it probably in the next few weeks. We're going to be having an event in late February or early March here in Orlando. And it's going to be one of our mastermind sessions. And you're going to be one of our honored guests. We actually want you to come in a day early and you're going to spend the entire day in one-on-ones with all of us. Hubert Centers, Josh Martinez, Mark Helwig, Tyson Clayton, myself, and Jason Ulrich. You're going to be able to meet with all of us individually, learn our best strategies, learn how we attack the market, ask us anything that you want to ask us. And we're going to spend the entire day with you, go to dinner with all of us as well at this event. All right. So I'm going to share the link to you all right now. And, you know, you can feel free to go ahead and click on it and donate right now. And I'll give you guys a couple of minutes, not talk about anything serious over the next couple of minutes while you guys do that donation and take a screenshot of it. But I want to share this because, I can't imagine what the family must be going through and what his daughter must be going through, much less him as a grandfather and him as a father and what that family is dealing with. And I know it's a tough battle, and what we want to do is help as much as humanly possible. So all I'm asking for is your help in this, in helping support Ollie and his journey, as he kicks cancer's ass. So this is the website. It's the meal train. All the donations would go to the family. All you need to do, guys, is simply click the link that I just shared with you, and then you can simply take a screenshot of it. And like I said, email us and we will issue out everything to you. I sent you guys the email as well. I'll send this one more time tonight as well. So Westfall family, Phil, I thank you both. A few people donated anonymously. I thank you as well. Rob, I thank you, my friend, for donating as well. I appreciate it all from me personally, and I know they do. I can speak for him and saying thank you and expressing tremendous gratitude to you all because I couldn't imagine having what they must be going through. So I'll send that link again. Um, There you are. And I'll give it like 2, 3 minutes for you guys to knock that out, and then we'll jump into everything we need to jump into as well. And again, please do not forget, email a screenshot of it to support at Woodford Wealth, and that way we can issue out the courses as well as the inner circle for those of you guys that have donated for that. Oh, well, I'm so sorry to you. Um, it's an absolute atrocious thing that, we have 1 in 3 people will experience cancer in their life. 1 in 3 people. It's just a statistic that's mind-boggling. And, it's amazing. There's like some pharmaceutical companies that it's funny, as just through my network, one has actually reached out and they've identified a protein that's actually helping cure pancreatic cancer. They're in phase 1 of clinical trials. They have like 15 people in the clinical trials, and 14 are on either cured or on their way to curing, and it's all because they identified a specific protein in the tumor. And it's amazing. They're not going to work with the pharmaceutical company because they want to release the drug, then go public, because they know that if somebody were to buy it today, it may never hit the market. So they want to make sure and ensure that the drug actually gets released, which I think is very admirable as well. So, um, you know, uh, my sympathies to you. I'm sure many people in here have dealt with that. So I appreciate you all. Thank you all for your time in donating. So let's get into it. Let's get into the markets here really quickly. I'm going to slide this over so I have kind of a working thing. I will see. Let's see. Wow. Deborah, yes. We would, there's specific requirements in there and stuff like that. At the end of this, if you're interested, I can be able to, I'll send somebody, I'll send you guys a link to book time with me, to talk about investments, and we'll talk about some things there. And, I'll send you all this link, later, but we'll get into that later. Dan, that's amazing as well. So let's get into the trades stuff now. So real quick, before we check in on anything, I'm actually going to go over the kind of longer term large market here. And I'm going to go on the QQQ, and we will look at QQQ first. Um, we'll look at it on a daily time frame, and then I'm gonna add on. While I'm here, I'm going to add on Tyson's Fib Master short-term indicator. I really like this indicator, mainly just because it gives a clear visual of bearish move, okay, and what to expect. And then this red line is where we should be looking to retrace to. Now, if you correlate this with either a cross of market energy or a red dot, it's a amazing tool. So right now, QQQ and the Nasdaq looks like a potential bearish move. I think as we get into earnings season and we unveil how much or how little profits are sitting for some of these companies, that's going to be a big driver in the QQQ. Another thing that was announced, and I'm going to talk about this in detail, but I don't know if you guys saw this, okay? Um, but basically, this article from Market Watch, there's links to it other. It's the basis of the article comes from an economist, Mark Zadani, or sorry, Zandi, who warns that the U.S. is close to damaging economic contraction. There are 22 states where we are either in a recession or are shrinking into a recession. Okay, either in a recession or shrinking into a recession. Now, this includes District of Columbia. We're talking, what? Mississippi, Georgia, North Carolina, or sorry, Georgia, Virginia, Maryland. I see DC in there, Jersey, Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, a lot of the Midwest states, Illinois. You're seeing Washington as well, Idaho. All of these states are there, and then you have another group of states that are treading water. Now, I will tell you the thing that is indisputable, unarguable, is that if we see California and New York hit this list, that is going to be a very, very scary thing. Because if California and New York enter into a recession, that means the US as a whole will more than likely enter a recession. A large portion of our GDP comes from those two states. Then the third and fourth largest are here and here. So if we get one, two, three, and four entering in a recession, then we will more than likely see a recession all across the US. Now, I have talked about this for weeks and weeks and weeks and told you that this may be a reality. And later in this presentation, I'm going to give you guys a chance to book time with me one-on-one. So that way, if there is a recession, how many of you would like to lose zero money in the markets if there is a recession? Because there's several ways you could do that. And I'm going to give you guys a link to book time with me one-on-one to learn how to do that. Okay. That's one of the things that I will be doing here today. But this is very concerning, of course. And I looked through his information is unarguable. And it has a lot to do with the slowdown in tariffs, the slowdown in production because of tariffs, the rise in prices because of tariffs, and various other things. And I can tell you, we're just now seeing it, right? And here's a, I know this is going to sound really, I hope this doesn't come off as elitist as me, but I finally hit a personal goal of that I wanted to hit. And so, I love watches. I'm a very big watch guy. Okay. Absolutely big watch guy. And so I wanted to look and start, maybe potentially purchase something soon. And I went into the store. A watch that I looked at the end of September is now $700 more in October. Let me repeat that. A watch I looked at at the end of September, last week of September, yesterday is $700 more. And we're seeing that all across the board. All across the board, right? So that is a very big, that is a very, very important thing to understand. Will gold and or silver be a good hedge if the economy enters in recession? Larry, yes, to a certain extent. But think about this, Larry. Imagine if it wouldn't matter if, I don't care if you were in gold, silver, Goldman Sachs, BlackRock, Lululemon, it wouldn't matter. Imagine you losing nothing if the market fell. That's what I'm talking about. And look, this isn't everything, but it's something that we need to have a discussion about, right? So this is why we're seeing a little bit of bearishness in here, and perhaps this is going to create bearish sentiment into tomorrow, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, right? And we don't have, global 7 stocks or the magnificent whatever, or whatever group of stocks you want to call them and give them a catchy name. You're not going to have them to save the market because their earnings aren't coming out over the next few days. So be aware of that as you go into trading next week. So QQQ, I see that we're pulling back. We have selling energy crossing buying energy. We're waiting on a daily time frame for a red dot, which would tell me to sell. If we look at a 4-hour, we haven't gotten that red dot yet. But if we drop down into like the 1-hour time frame, we have, right? And that was at 47,277, and we're at 45,788. So if I turn on, my options indicator here with it, which this is a feature in Hedge Fund Trender, and I'll be talking about Hedge Fund Trender this week. If you guys want to join a webinar and learn about it, I'll be doing a webinar on it. I'll send it out via the Discord, and I will make sure that you all get emailed at least the link as well for it. But if you look at this had you buy the October 24th puts at 47,300. Well, just from Thursday to Friday, if we do some quick mathematics here, 47,300 minus 45840, that's $1,460 of movement there. There's ways you could have taken advantage of that in options easily. That's a whole hell of a lot of money if you understand what you're doing here, right? That's why this is very important to understand and why these systems and tools are so great for us. So QQQ, we see a little bit of bearish movement and perhaps a continuation of the bearish movement. Let's look at SPY here. October 31st puts were bought at 670 and we're at 669 now, so a dollar move drop in the S&P 500. But overall, right, we see, there's potential for a drop. Well, that would lead into the ES, right, which is the S&P futures, where we did get a massive bearish move, and we're seeing a little bit of a recovery from that bearish move. If we don't break a new high here, then perhaps we'll see this market continue to turn over and finally begin to give us that, what we're seeing, to say the least, happen. And I would anticipate a movement like that potentially occurring over the next few days and weeks, right? We got the bearish signal early with the Fib Mastery system, but just waiting on the red dot and waiting on selling energy is what we're waiting on for the selling opportunity in the ES. And then the NQ, and if I select the right one, again, we got the bearish movement on the daily. That 1 hour time frame, we had a selling opportunity on the NQ on Friday at 6 a.m. All the way through was a great money-making opportunity. We now see a little bit of a pullback. If we don't make a new high going in the overnight, then I just don't see us. I see us tomorrow, just kind of a continuation of this fall. Okay. So now let's jump into Lululemon. We'll do a quick check on that. So we looked at getting into Lululemon at 166.86 was what was the call on the opportunity there. And the market is closed on Friday at 175.59. So we're up $8.73 in that. I'm still looking. My target is still 197.36 here. It's not changed. It's still that. We'll probably see a little bit of a pullback, but then the next opportunity. So there's an opportunity here, if you're not in it, to maybe potentially get into it, right? If you look at a 1 hour time frame and say, all right, well, where is the opportunity to get into? When we get a blue dot or when we get green crossing above red, that'll be a clear indicator to us. But I would be looking for an opportunity here. A simple thing you could do is just draw a counter trend line over the tops of these candles. And if we break above, we'll just continue to rally up. That's when you want to buy. Does that make sense? Yes or no? Does that make sense? Yes or no? Perfect, right? That's just a very simple way for you to look for that buy and say, all right, now it's time to enter. And again, we're looking to fill this gap. That's what I'm looking to do, right? This gap here at 204 to down here, I'm looking to fill that gap. 197 is where I want to stop, but then our next gap is at 330. And I'm telling you, I do believe that we get there. UNH, okay, UNH, United Healthcare. This is another one. We called this at 288 and we're up $72.20 as of Friday. We were $17 away from hitting our first profit target that we've set out for this thing. And then I think we get a pullback After we hit this profit target, I think we get a pullback down to like 322, maybe even to 275. And anywhere in there will be another opportunity to buy in to take this ride up to 582. Has anybody gotten into either Lululemon or UNH? Anybody gotten into either of these besides me? Let's see. Couple no's, couple of yeses. Okay, that's fine. Few no's, few yeses, great. For those of you that have, fantastic. For those that haven't, that's all right. Right? There'll be another opportunity to, but what you don't want to miss, like my goal is to get this from 288 to 582. That's where my ultimate, like I'm getting out of my whole position at, right? So if I do 582 minus 288, I'm looking at $294 per share that I own in this. Well, if I would have bought an option, and sure, it would have been more money, but is what it is. OKLO, we had talked about an entry at 110, and the market did give us that 110 entry, right? 110.53 is where we wanted to enter in this, and it did. It fell down as low as, what's the low there? 108.54. And now we're sitting at 127. We filled that gap. Now I think we actually push back down, right? I actually do think we push back down even further. So this would be up $16.83. If you're in it now, I would be looking for an opportunity to close, potentially close out, or at minimum, right? Bare bones minimum. What I want to see you do is put your stop loss where at least you're profitable, right? So if your stop loss was, let's say, at 123 right here, right? If your stop loss was at 123 and if the market fell $4 and all it did was you made money, I'm sure the worst thing, worst have happened to you. But if it continues to rally, just keep trailing it by $4 or $5 until you get pulled, until it takes you out. That's the way I would trade this right now. SMR. SMR was a buy at $38 and we're up a little bit in it, not much, 212. I still think that we may have a good opportunity to buy in this thing still. I think we push up to around $46, $47 before, or we may end up filling this gap at 50. Right. So SMR, I'm totally fine with you guys getting involved in buying in that. Let's take a look at AppLovin real quick. So at AppLovin, we're seeing that pullback finally happen. We have selling energy strong. We have seen this thing sort of sell off. I think it stops at around 670. Maybe, it could it pull to 509? Sure. At 670, though, I would be like, all right, should I re-enter? What are my charts telling me? What are my indicators telling me? We do have earnings. We have all the way till November before they report earnings. So 1 month from today, they will report earnings. And if they beat, it'll be a continuation. If they've fallen off, it will be a drop. Right. And so this 570 number right in here, that number, that gap right there is what has, my alerts up for myself. But other than that, because nothing moves parabolically like this on its without a big pullback. Okay. So I anticipate a pullback for AppLovin. This is still a wait for me. Let's get into, so we need to update this to today. And that, nope, that's fine. And let's get into we did QQQ, we did the SPY. Let's hit MCK. Now, what has me interested in McKesson, which is a pharmaceutical company? Normally, I wouldn't be very, very big on pharmaceutical companies, but there is an opportunity here. Apparently, what the major news story is around them is that their one of their drugs that has been known forever, it's now being used to treat autism, and it's helping nonverbal autistic people become verbal, and it's helping, with the coping around autism. And with that being such a prevalent disease right now in our society, this could have promise for this stock to continue to go up. Another stock I like is Novo Nordisk. Your choice whether you want Class A or Class B shares. Doesn't matter either way, and how you get involved in it. But, Novo Nordisk, is that the right one? Oh, let's just make sure. It's sitting at like $50. They just released that drug that is now a weight loss pill. So it's basically like a semaglutide in a weight loss form. So it's microdose semaglutide, which is shown to be promising. Hopefully doesn't make people go blind and stuff like the semaglutides have been doing, and they're in a big lawsuit. But we'll see. Well, so this is another company that, $50, I'm not too worried about. I think that we could see some bullish opportunity out of Novo Nordisk as well. Let's go QBTS. So, um, look, quantum computing. Do I think quantum computing is the next wave of technology? Absolutely. Are we there yet? Absolutely not. Let me just say that right now. We are not there yet with quantum computing. This is the spectrum that you need to be paying attention to, or the kind of the down chain that you should pay attention to when it comes to quantum computing. So right now we have AI, right? Artificial intelligence. Next is AGI, which is artificial general intelligence. What AGI is imagine something that will think for itself, and it will know what you're looking for on its own, based on the data that it has of you, and it will be able to surmise what is the best course of action for A, B, or C. Right? So you could say to it, I want to start a business selling t-shirts online. It will know, okay, great. It will look for trends. It'll set it up. It'll set up all of the apps. It'll set up your marketing. With a touch of a button, you'll have a business like that. It'll file everything for you, do everything, track everything. You want to do anything, it just will do it for you. It also will solve complex medical issues and we're not at AGI yet. We're potentially 2 to 5 years away from what the top AI experts in the world talk about. Then there's ASGI. ASGI is artificial super general intelligence. Now, this is where different AI models, so Gemini will talk to ChatGPT, which will talk to Grok, which will talk to whatever China has, which will talk to all of them, and then they will combine their intelligence for a super intelligent being. And then we will probably unlock quantum computing. Now, quantum is out. There is quantum computing. There are two chips in this world because they're that complicated to make. Okay. Does the market not price in 6, 12 months in advance? Oh, it can, right? Skynet will then become self-aware. Yep, Terminator will be back. No, quantum computing is really interesting. Eh, Google has it. What's crazy is that it can do in 1 second, it can do 7 septillion calculations. It is so far beyond what we know. It is the only thing that could hack the code with which Bitcoin was written. It could literally hack every single person's bank account in the globe in like 10 or 15 minutes. All right. That is how far something like that is. And it will render a lot of things, useless at certain point in time. One of the crazy things that I heard in a podcast with this gentleman who was one of the pioneers in AI, is he had said, we are now in the age where no human born on Earth will ever be as smart as a machine. Like no human born for the rest of the will ever be as smart as a machine. That is crazy, right? Um, oh, Daryl asked a question. He said, so eventually we'll create something that we will not be able to stop. Daryl, that's already created. Like AI is able to replicate itself, it's able to teach itself, it's able to back up its own data, it's able to do things that we don't even know, right? The father of AI had a great expose on 60 Minutes a couple of months ago, and he said we've we've taught this thing how to teach itself, and we don't know what it's teaching itself because we can't understand what's going on. We don't know how it's making certain connections. We don't. It's just doing it. And so it's scary, exciting, cool, who knows? Maybe we'll all get unplugged from the Matrix one day. I don't know. So Rob, yeah, said two of them were set to talk to each other and they started talking in code we don't understand. So they had to shut them off. Yeah, Rob, but what's crazy is that that connection now exists. So even if they shut off the mainframe, it can replicate itself somewhere else. And those things are talking, and we have no clue where it's talking at a certain level, which that's what's crazy about AI. But don't get me on my future, you know. I love this stuff. It scares me to death, but I love it as well, right? It's a little, hopefully it's not like Terminator and more like a Mission Impossible movie, right? So QBTS, what I do think is going to happen with this is it's going to come way back down. We'll probably see it back in the $20 range, right? Because if you can't make money from it, then it won't be able to take advantage of it. You know what I mean? Um, then let's look at Rigetti, right? Again, that's another one, RGTI. That's another quantum computing play. Was big on Rigetti at like 10 or 12 bucks, made a bunch of money, got out of it way too darn soon. I got out of it at 22. Genius over here. All right. Hey, that's it. We all have those moments. Shot up to 40. I think it'll pull back down here in a little bit, probably back into the $29-$30 spot. And I'll probably get a few shares of it and just pick it up slowly, right? Let's look at applied APLD as well. So 2653, looking at them again, it's set. We have market energy high. We're still buying. It's still pushing up, but we're coming up to the tops here. Could we pull back to 2231? Absolutely. Absolutely could. So uh, this week is going to be a telltale week. I honestly think we'll probably have some down days and then some flat days, and then we will see. Earnings are coming up for Applied this week, October 9th. So if they come in higher than this negative number, then that'll be a good thing. And if they beat revenue, that'll be a great thing and it'll push the stock up. Right? So there's an earnings play there on Applied. Let's go McCormick. MKC is McCormick. So McCormick, yes, I mean the seasoning company. This is a play that I've used in the past that anytime we enter in or get close to a recession, I buy this stock immediately. Number one reason why is because eating out is the number one thing people stop doing in a recession. They start cooking at home. And you got to buy seasonings to cook. And they sell all sorts of recipe guides, all sorts of everything, and they're the largest in that space. So this is one of those plays that I like during a recession. Another play I like during a recession is Walmart, right? Absolutely love Walmart in a recession. I think at $102 a share, this is a great company to pick up. I absolutely do. I 100% believe in that. I think that you could not go wrong in potentially buy with enough time if you're buying options. But if you're buying the stock, I think Walmart's a great stock right now. Because if we do enter a recession, then that will take us, this will also push out further. and push higher because good things cheap. The other thing I like about Walmart, I'll be honest with you, they just announced they're removing all food dyes from their products. So that is coming by early next year. They will no longer have anything sold with food dyes. So that means because Walmart said that, all of the major manufacturers of food will remove them because who doesn't want to be a product in Walmart, right? Who doesn't want to be a product in Walmart? So, how far out in an option play? Option play on Walmart. I would look. I know this may be more expensive, but I would look at Elite honestly because I think that's where over that you want to own this for a long time for a while. If you're going short term, let me see here. Whatever you think 102 to 106 would be is where I think you would go short term. So probably like a 3-month option and maybe do a spread to protect against downside. All right. So 102 to 106 is where we're looking to go. Amazon, AMZ in. Love Amazon. People always going to shop at Amazon. They have their Prime days coming up this week. The 7th and 8th, I think, are some special Prime days. We see there's a gap there at 195. What I think hurts Amazon is server and data space as, people move servers in their AWS is still their pillar of their company. What I also think hurts Amazon is, changes and cost changes to, the Prime deals and things like that, and as well cost changes into shipping, right? That's another thing that hurts Amazon. And I also think their Amazon Prime uh, television stuff is probably going to be a little bit of a hindrance. So I'm cautiously optimistic on Amazon. However, short term, I am pessimistic, right? I am pessimistic on Amazon. I believe that we will see Amazon back in this 195 range. And that's where I think I will start picking stuff up. At minimum, I think we see 204. But if we hit 204, I think we'll get 195. Um, so let's see. Which platform is this? This is TradingView, and I'm using Hedge Fund Trender, the Fib Mastery system, and Market Energy. Why would that happen to Amazon? So, Jerry, increased cost of shipping because gas prices are higher, wages are higher, or for UPS, wages are higher. Yes, they've gone electric for their personal fleet, but the majority packages are still split. They're not all delivering. The other is in a recession, people will shop less. The next thing is that one of the things kind of quiet changes Amazon made to Amazon Prime is they said that, hey, you only get Prime shipping now to your home address. Well, I'll give you a great instance. My brothers are in college. If they want, and they had my parents' Amazon login. When they needed to order stuff, they would order stuff and have it shipped to West Point. They're both at West Point Military Academy. And they no longer can use my parents' login to buy stuff because it's not going to the primary address. So it will probably increase some subscriptions, but long term, I don't know if it increases, you know, I don't know the impact that may have. Right. And it's mainly because they're trying to become more profitable. Now, I'm going to give you what I'm going to call my next long shot. Okay, my next long shot opportunity is Starbucks. Now, you may or may not have seen the video that I did on this and shared on this, but what Starbucks they got into this we can and this happens with every company. Let me just say that, right? This happens with a lot of companies, and this happens a time in and time again, which is that they get into this like this habit of, oh, we can do no wrong. We'll just keep innovating and innovating and adding and adding and adding, and we're gonna do this and we're gonna do that and we're gonna do this and we're gonna do that and adding and adding, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh crap, people aren't buying our stuff. Our stores aren't as profitable. We're losing money. Barrier to entry is now lower. What do we do? Well, you cut SKUs of things that aren't selling. You improve product. You reduce your overhead, your number of people in your store count. And all three are happening right now at Starbucks. All three, which is a turnaround story for Starbucks. And, Starbucks, they've had a phenomenal history, right? Like they've been, as high as 120, and then they fell down to 70, and now we're sitting down, into the 80 range. And I still think that I think it'll rally back up. I think you'll see it come back up into the 90 to $100 range. Over the next 6 to 12 months. I think the moment they beat earnings, this'll shoot way up. So I like Starbucks. Full disclosure, I'm looking to get into it. I'm looking at any price point between 86.42 and 84 and 85, right? Any here, right? That is what I'll be looking for. Absolutely. 200 stores closing is what William said. Yeah, more stores closing. Absolutely, right? That's the thing. You got to close stores in order to become more profitable. It's just like what Steve Jobs did and what happens every few years with Apple. It happens in the tech industry a ton, is that they build and they build and they build and they have all of these products. And then it's like, well, no, it's the uh it's like there's too many choices, so people don't make a decision. Right? Like when you're given one choice, you're like, well, can't I wish I had two. But then when you're given two choices, you're 2 to 3 is that sweet spot for us as people. But I don't know how many of y'all have ever been to Cheesecake Factory, but when I have to look through like 12 pages of a menu, I'm not gonna do it. There's too many choices, right? It needs to be easier than splitting a biscuit in order for us to be able to make a decision. That's just how we operate as people, right? So we have to do very simple choices. Rob says In-N-Out Burger is good that way. Rob, I'll look, I may get shot after I say this. I know it. I know I'm gonna get shot after saying this. I don't find In-N-Out Burger that good. I've been to two in Texas. I've not been to any in California. So I will say that. Let me give that buffer. But I've had better burgers. It's good. It's not that good. Increases earning per share, and they may do a share buyback. Absolutely, Dan. And that's why I love the stock, right? Great, great insight there, Dan. Absolutely love the stock for that. So, um, that is, one of the big opportunities there. Let's look at one more. And then I need to run. Let's take a gander at CoreWeave. I really like CoreWeave. I just think we're going to see it fall before I want to buy it, to be honest. We have selling energy is increasing. We're still seeing that bear side, like 125. Maybe I pick some up. But I just see that we're still early on in the, I've talked about this for those that don't know. The IPO opportunity is always like the market shoots up, then there's a sell-off, it'll shoot up again, a little bit less, then there's a big sell-off and it stays flat for a while and then shoots up. So my real goal is to buy it anywhere between, I'll tell you guys right now. Oh, hold on. Delete everything. Delete that too. Delete it. All right. Well, it doesn't want to delete it. Give me a second here. I'm going to just do this. Quit. Yeah. My goal is to buy CoreWeave between 80 and 63. Somewhere in there is where mine is going to be. Okay. 80 to 63. And I will look at one Forex position just for you. CAD Swiss. Maybe I'll look at two. CAD Swiss. Again, oil is starting to rise, so maybe that helps the CAD dollar and push up a little bit. We don't have a blue dot yet. Selling energy still high, so we're not fully out of the woods. CAD yen. The yen is kind of a little bit of return to the safe havenness of the currency because they're fairly stable there, right? They've already gone through their big population change and etc. But I still expect this to pull back to 105, so about 200 pips before we see a rally in this even further. But again, I think 200 pips down before the next rally is what I would expect to see on the CAD yen. Ralph, we already did the NQ. We already did the NQ. We talked about it more than likely. Short term over the next day or two, looking for another push down in the NQ. If we don't break above 25,147, I think we will see a big another drop in the NQ as well. And now let me tell you this: if the government shutdown gets announced tomorrow that they're back in action, expect euphoria. Just tell you that right now. Expect euphoria. Expect dollar strength. Risk on. Markets go up. All right. So look. Lastly, right, with what I was saying here earlier about 22 states being in a recession and many more, the economy's shrinking. And yes, certain states are still expanding, but we are still seeing a lot of things shrinking and and there's a lot of concern, right? The thing that you don't want to see happen is as you are retired or entering retirement or investing, is you don't want to see the market tank and you lose all of the money that you've worked your rear end off to build up, right? So there are tools that we have in order to help protect your wealth. Part of these tools allow you to get bonuses and significant returns, right? One individual in here, he's already made 31.9% return. My parents have made 350. I don't know. That's a 35 point 35.9 as well. My in-laws just eclipsed 47% return in this year. So that what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you all this link. Okay. If you want more information about this, I'm going to send you, this is my personal calendar link, and you can book time directly with me on my calendar. This costs you nothing. We're just going to review what your retirement portfolio looks like, your assets look like, and maybe there's something I can help you with. And if not, great. If you're in a perfect situation, I've told people, hey, don't change a thing. You are perfect. You're perfect. Don't need to change anything. And anybody tells you different, tell them to holler at me. But if there's certain things that we can do to help one make you 30-40% return and help you lose nothing if we do enter a recession, and if we don't enter in a recession, your money will still grow risk free, then I think it's worth a conversation. So there is that link again. So go ahead and use it. Book time with me, folks. Very simple. You'll just simply click that link, hit enter, and it'll bring you to a calendar page. Hopefully, maybe. Yep, there it goes. And then you can just book time on my calendar. If you book on Monday, try to do this like 7 p.m. I have to block this off. My dog has to have surgery tomorrow, and I also have to. I have a doctor's appointment as well, so I don't know what my day is going to look like, to say the least. Right, Jerry, that's awesome, and I'm looking forward to that meeting with you as well. So if you can, don't book on Monday, but I will be in touch if possible. So I see a couple of people have booked. All awesome. Thank you guys so much already. And or if anything, I'll get, one of my team members like Brent or another team member to give you a call as well. So look, guys, keep this link that you use to get in here. You'll be able to use it every single week. These sessions are free. I don't charge for them. I just want to provide a service with the tools that I'm using, and if I'm doing it anyway, why not talk through it? So appreciate y'all. And if you have any questions at all, right? Um, let me know. I will gladly reach out to you. Dan, absolutely I would. Basically here, I'll show you her. I love Look, I'm a dog person. If you didn't know, look, the older I get, the more I realize how much I love my pets. But I have two dogs. One is a miniature Australian Shepherd. This is here, I'll actually just that was our trip to Ireland. This is Tiger, and she's my mini Aussie. She broke a tooth in the back of her in like one of her molars, and it's slightly infected, so I got to get it cut out. And then this is my other dog, Louie, who we adopted from a neighbor that wasn't feeding him, and he was at 11 months old. He was he was 11 pounds at 7 months old. And so we adopted him. He's now a 54-pound lap dog, and he's a boxer lab mix. So you guys know the difference there. But yep. So, got that tomorrow. So uh, I love you guys. Really look forward to seeing you guys very, very soon and in another webinar. And you guys have a great one. And that's my wife, Jerry. That's my wife. You guys have a good one, and I will talk to you guys soon. And thank you guys for donating. And don't forget to send in those emails and book time with me. All right, have a good one, everybody. Talk to you soon. Bye.